Hi, I'm Ella. Thanks for being here with me. And so I just want to quickly say that today is definitely a better day than the past few days have been. And I think I have some understanding as to why. First of all, when I woke up this morning, I was still kind of in the same angry, kind of generally upset kind of place that I have been in here recently. I did quite a bit of journaling this morning, which really um, helped me to clarify and kind of identify some things that have been really frustrating me. And honestly, journaling, even I say that it hasn't been working that well for me recently, um, but it still does now and then. It's just and so this morning was one of those mornings where it just helped. Um, so one of the things that I've come to realize is that um, I talked about this recently, where I feel like um, my masculine side has, and my masculine energy has always been very strong and very prominent and very um, ambitious and driven and just driving forward all the time. And my feminine energy, I've always sort of downplayed, and I've sort of kind of kept that part of me kind of small. And there are reasons why. I won't go into it publicly, just like I don't want to go into some of the things that are really bothering me publicly, because yeah, I'm a I'm a pretty open person, but I have boundaries. So anyway, yeah. So I talked about this recently, where for the first time, when I did standing bow pose in practicing yoga, I I actually was able to get deeper into the pose standing on my right leg, while the right side of the body represents the feminine energy. So, and that was literally the first time ever, the first time in my life, and it was such a shock, and it was so amazing. Well, um, that happened again this morning, today, after I took the dogs for a walk. I got on the yoga mat, and one of the one of the things that I experienced was standing bow, standing on my right leg. I was much stronger standing on my right, and not stronger than on my left, but definitely more closely more. It was more balanced. The energy and the depth that I was in the pose was more balanced than it ever has been. Between the left and the right. So that is pretty exciting, actually. And you know, coming to realize that a lot of the core, the crux of why I've been feeling some kind of way about a bunch of things recently is is that because I'm finally letting my feminine side really kind of come out to play, and part of that is embracing the way that my body looks at all times, not just when I'm trying to dress my body in a certain way, but I'm talking about at all times. Like, even when I'm in yoga poses that, you know, uh, quite frankly, I feel like my body looks unattractive in those poses. It's like, who cares? Who cares? The practice of yoga is really good for me, so I'm gonna do it anyway, even if I feel like I look ridiculous. So, um, I've recognized that I have a lot to heal when it comes to the feminine side of me, and really a lot to explore there too, of what does it mean to be more balanced between my masculine and feminine, because the masculine energy has just been in charge of me and my life for so long, with driving forward and being ambitious and, you know, always having all the bases covered and, you know, whatever. And it's like the feminine has just been kind of squelched. And, you know, of course that started in childhood, but, you know, I've continued the tradition in adulthood. So, you know, looking to break those patterns and what I'm finding in doing that is that shattering those patterns doesn't have to be like this grand act of some kind. It doesn't have to be this grandiose thing. It can happen in little steps. And for certain things, that just feels better. It feels safe to do that. You know, it's very healing to do that. So, you know, that is something that I am definitely working to meet within myself, and it's something that I look forward to getting to help others meet in themselves as well. So that's one thing. Um, Another thing is, I was able to get into camel pose today in my practice, for the first time ever. I say the first time ever, but I've been able to do it with putting my hands on my hips, like not on my hips, but like on the top of my buttocks. So, but I haven't been able to do it where I reach my ankles. So I was able to do that this morning. There's a caveat because I did make one adjustment, and that was, instead of having the tops of my feet flat on the mat, that's the proper way to do it. But an adjustment is, if you're not quite there yet, you can turn your toes under, so you're tucking your toes and your ankles are up, are pointing up. And so that's what I did, and I was able to reach back and grab, and actually place my hands on my ankles, and that was super exciting. Camel pose is it's a challenging one. There are so many poses that are challenging, but that is a challenging one for multiple reasons. One is that it is traditionally touted as a back bending pose, which it definitely is. I mean, your back, your whole body really must be warmed up to be prepared to get into that pose and to actually be able to really feel it. But it's also touted as a chest or heart opening pose, because your whole neck and chest are fully exposed and pointing towards the sky, and that is extremely vulnerable. It feels very naked, and it is very, like, you really have to be in an open place to be able to do that, and to actually be able to get the benefits from the pose. So so it's both. It's a back bending and it's a heart/chest opening. I say heart/chest because a lot of times, especially if you are a very literal thinker or a very literal processor, saying something like heart opening doesn't make sense, because it's like, what do you mean by that? But chest opening makes a little bit more sense, because you are literally stretching the muscles that are covering your rib cage and your sternum. So, so you're literally stretching those muscles. And it does, push your heart forward in your chest. So it is a very vulnerable position, a very vulnerable pose. And, it's uncomfortable. I don't know anybody who would say that camel pose is a comfortable pose. Maybe somebody out there thinks so. If so, then, please comment. I would love to hear about it. Maybe I'll get there someday. So anyway, so that was one thing. That's not even like the big thing. Um, so the big thing was that my body was just asking, please, pigeon pose, please, pigeon pose, please, pigeon pose, please. Pigeon pose is one of those. It is one of my favorite poses, and it's there are some variations to it. There are plenty of adjustments that you can do, and there are actually adjustments that are just kind of fun to try. You know, like using a bolster under your leg, um, and or using blocks to place your hands on, things like that. So um, there are some cool adjustments that you can do with that one. There's a lot you can do with pigeon pose. Well, it seems like every time, it's a hip opener, so it literally stretches your hips open. A lot of times we hold a lot in our bodies, but specifically, we do hold a lot, especially women. We hold a lot of stress and tension in our pelvic, in our abdominal region. Okay, and one of the best ways um, to release that is doing hip opening poses like pigeon pose. So I knew as soon as my body was saying pigeon pose, I was like, oh boy. So I get in it, one leg, and then I get to the other leg, and I just start crying, and these words just start coming to me. So it was profound, and I thought that I would share that with you, because even though it's quite personal, I would say that I think there's some universality to it as well. So I thought I would share what I wrote, and I'm going to edit. Well, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just leave it as is, since we're 12 minutes in already. Right now, it is like this. I want a lover who will sink deep into me, who will appreciate my hips, the way I laugh too loud, the way I feel everything too deeply. I want a lover who can meet me right where I am. I never have to be smaller or smarter or wittier than I am in this moment. I want a lover who inspires me to be my best self, who never subtracts or detracts from me and my personhood. I want a lover who sees just how fucking amazing I am with such radical acceptance that I instantly know I am home. I want a lover who also dares to be my best friend, my confidant, my champion, who witnesses all of my mundanity and all of my intensity with equal parts curiosity and appreciation. I want to be seen, heard, witnessed, cherished, respected, encouraged, honored. And yes, I want a lover with an insatiable appetite for me, for this life, for their own life, for learning, for healing, for deeply experiencing this brief, precious life. I deserve these things and more, and so do you. So does everyone. The difference in me, I am finally ready to claim it. Are you? So that was my writing in pigeon pose today. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now. I've definitely talked a long time. I've shared quite a bit. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks so much for being here with me, and enjoy the rest of your day.